Hi guys, welcome back. It's been an inspiring sort of couple weeks and getting a lot of really interesting downloads about America and the world right now. And maybe you'll like them and maybe you'll fucking hate them, and that's okay because I'm a natural polarizer. So you can tell me what you like and what you hate, and I'll work on it. But anyway, this right now, what I want to talk about right now is white guilt. What is white guilt? Well, it's pretty huge right now. It's pretty huge right now, and it's something that we have decided. Somebody decided. I didn't decide it. Somebody decided to put this in all of our books. So where I went to school in Arizona, in a small town called Chandler, for the most part. And at some point in my studies, maybe sixth grade, I started getting bused to honors classes. And then at some point in maybe junior high, early junior high, something like that. No, I don't know. I think it was in honors, and I think I was in honors since like fourth grade. So I was supposed to be in creme de la creme, best of the best for this small town. Anyway, so I can only speak for the books that I read, that I was assigned here with this with the school program, but all throughout history and commerce and all these things, there was a very clear sort of essence of white European guilt. Basically, that I should feel guilty because I have light skin. And I mean, I had, when we went through these history. I remember because I was very, very pale, very, very pale. Although I do have brown eyes and brown hair, but I was very, very pale, and I was also very awkward. So people of color would call me Whitey. And I had never been called Whitey before, even though I grew up in Texas, but I had never been called Whitey before. And of course, I was very, I didn't know what to say. I remember calling a little boy named Andrew Blackie back, and that, of course, caused a huge firestorm. But he did start it. I would have never, ever, ever said anything like that to him if he had not initiated it by calling me Whitey. I had not even heard the term before. I had no clue what the hell that was. But anyway, this sort of thing, the schools right now are rife with it. I don't know about right now. I'm 35, so when I went to school, rife with it, and basically blaming European people for every tragedy that's happened, not just in America, not just to the Native Americans or with the Native Americans, literally every tragedy around the world, blamed on Europeans. Every tragedy in history, every tragedy with business, and there's no like, well, this is something the Catholics did, this is something that the Islamic people did, this is something that the Jews did. None of that. It was all very focused on, this is all white people did, right? So somehow I'm looped in with the Crusades, and I'm looped in with Nazi Germany, and I'm looped in with just because I'm white, I have pale skin, and they consider me to be, check the little box. It says white, it says non-Hispanic, right? And so I'm basically somehow, in the course of learning these history stuff, I'm blamed for basically every tragedy that's ever happened. So oh well, white people deserve it, and white people should feel white guilt, and this is a definite thing. And then if you go off to college and you go to Jesuit school or you go to Catholic school, like, this is a plague mindset of like, well, it's all our fault, and everything's wrong, and it's all it's Whitey's fault, it's the Europeans' fault. Well, if we really break this down, Europeans are tribal people as well. So we've got Native American tribes, we've got European tribes, we've got European countries made of tribes, right? And so there's tribes fighting each other. Some tribes win. Some tribes are bigger than others. Some tribes cross the sea. I'm not a direct descendant of fucking Christopher Columbus. Not at all. Not at all. But yet, it's very easy for a white child to take on all of this really, really, really intense blame for basically every tragedy that's ever happened. And we didn't really learn at all about the Russian Holocaust, the Holodomor. We didn't learn about any other, large-scale genocides or holocausts. Basically, the only Holocaust we ever went into was World War II. I mean, the history that I got was so fucked up. So fucked up. So unbalanced. I remember we focused completely on Adolf Hitler and how he hated the Jews for no good reason. And nothing on World War I or the decimation of Europe after World War I, decimation of Germany, Hitler's rise to power, all these things. Just basically that Hitler was a good talker who happened to, because of his prurient interest in killing people, decide to hate Jewish people. This is just absolutely insane. I can go into Hitler later. But what does white guilt do for our communities, right? And this is where I want to get into it, because basically, most of my friends, most of the people that I put in my life are very, very, very much liberals. And they want to see everyone have equal rights. Every color, every creed, every race, every sexual orientation. And, they're very much, democratic liberals. Well, and they don't want to be called white. They don't want to identify with whiteness. Even though they went through school and checked every box white. So they know that they're white. They've been trained to think that they're white. Not just European. Not just I'm this or I'm that. I'm Swedish or I'm German. But that they've been trained by these check boxes that they're white. And what does white guilt do for people? For the average person, for me, and for a lot of the people I see around me, basically it was like almost a death sentence. I mean, it's really, really, really damaging to children to blame them for maybe what, some tribal people way back in their ancestry did. I don't think that we would do that if we had a black kid in a classroom and we were going over some sort of genocide that happened in Africa. We would not be blaming him for what happened in Africa. We would not do that. So, well, you've got dark skin, so you must descend from the people that decided to do this genocide. We would never do that. But yet, white guilt is something that is shoved down our throats, absolutely. And of course, as good little students, as good little Pavlovian students, we swallow all of it. The problem here comes in then with this, because whenever we feel shame about something, whenever we're blamed for something, whenever we have guilt or fear about some things, fear of our own nature, guilt about what happened, we're being blamed, right? So we're going to sublimate that, we're going to take it out on ourselves. It's going to make us more angry, more violent. And when I look around at the people that, came up when I came up, a vast majority of them have had their life just decimated by themselves, basically. So whether it's drugs or alcohol or poverty or homelessness or sex work or any sort of just basically being so upset and so ashamed of themselves for their basic skin color that instead of having goals and being goal directed, they chose to sort of self-destruct. I know that I did. And, I can only really speak for myself, but the goal-directedness that I had when I started school, which was very, very strong, it just absolutely was decimated by the time I was in, junior high and high school. And I was afraid of my own power. I was afraid of my own will. I doubted my own will. So much so that I was a very easy trap for the media, for buying things and thinking that I needed this and that, I needed to look a certain way, and I needed to try all these drugs, and I needed to fit in this and that way. Because I felt horribly guilty. I felt like, well, I can't really be trusted. If I'm in my full power as a white person, I'm going to kill things. I'm going to ruin things. I'm a ruiner. And so I better just self-destruct. This affects kids. It absolutely does. It absolutely does. And I think it's a very, very destructive sort of way to teach. I don't think it does anything for any sort of minority at all, the way that we teach. And it definitely does not do anything for, I don't think it does anything for anyone of color. Well, we're all of color, thanks so much, Some of us are a little bit lighter peach, but we're all of color, right? So this whole, feeling guilty just because of what your skin tone is total rubbish. We build our lives on our own accomplishments. and our own decisions. And if we feel guilty, it should be about something we did, not something that supposedly someone in some sort of, some ancestor did. They're not us. We're not them. And the way that we're teaching is just sucking the power out of everyone. It sucks the power out of Black people because they're perpetual victims. It sucks the power out of Native people because they're, they lost and they're victims. It takes the power out of Mexican people and Asian people and everybody else, and certainly European people. And we need to be teaching history in a more lively and honest and, impassioned way. Basically, there's not some sort of, grand conspiracy with the European people. There's just different tribes, and they came upon different lands at different times, and maybe they crossed the sea, maybe they didn't. Maybe they had a religion that they were under, that they were answering to a pope or a queen or whatever. And, they fought each other. And maybe they took slaves. And maybe they killed people by, saying, well, they're just animals and we're going to chop their limbs off, like Christopher Columbus. It's horrible, but it's part of nature, and it's part of human history. And so we can say, well, we have a better worldview now, that we're not all tied up with religion and thinking that we're better than everyone else. Whether it's the Catholics or the Jews or the Islamic people or any sort of Abrahamic, fundamental Abrahamic religion, all those fucking religions teach you that, somehow you're the chosen motherfucker on earth, and everybody else should just be your slave and your fuck toy or whatever. And, they're all like that. When you really get esoteric with it, they're all like that. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting. If anything, history should be devoted to teaching why you should not be religious. Any sort of religion. Don't be religious. We want to go back to the days in which we had an open free market and outdoor markets. We grew our own food. We shared with our neighbors. We had real quality, relationships and connections. We had fairs and festivals and potlucks. And we embraced our tribe. We embraced other tribes. And yeah, if there was some sort of resource, maybe we fought over it. But we fought with dignity. This is the thing. We need to restore dignity to education. We need to restore dignity to education. And that's why. So when I witness the alt-right, talking about this or that, well, we're gonna show them now because we're gonna come out and be united as white. This is a product, and some of these people are college educated, and so at the think tank or whatever with Robert Spencer. Robert Spencer's got to be a fucking idiot for saying those things. Sorry, buddy, but you are an idiot, and you're also extremely awkward. Like, you're so awkward. I can't even imagine trying to spend the day with that guy. He's so fucking awkward. Like, he looks like he puts potatoes up his own ass or something. Like some sort of weird shit. Anyway, sorry, but no, he's very awkward. But when I think about that, I think this is what the education that I got created. Those people are about the same age as me, and so people either take themselves out and they live a life of self-destruction, or they rebel against this nasty teachings and they go on to become white supremacists. You don't have to become either. You don't have to become a fucking horrible loser or a fucking white supremacist. There's so much awesome gray area to be in there. But the schools are doing it. The schools are doing it to us. And why? Why is this the way that these textbooks are structured? Why is this the bent that teachers go after? Why would we want to teach anybody with shame, guilt, blame, and fear? Again, this doesn't work in addiction, and it doesn't work in life, and it does not work in the education system. And we need to get the fuck rid of it because it's stupid. It's stupid. And when I ask people, I was like, so do you have white guilt? Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. Everybody has white guilt. They're like, yeah, you gotta wear it. You gotta wear it on you almost like a Jewish star. Oh yeah, I've got white guilt for sure. Yeah. Oh yeah, even though, I'm a fourth Native American, even though I'm a fourth Russian, even though I'm a fourth Jew, even that little bit of British there, I've got white guilt. Yeah, for sure. I didn't do anything. I didn't do shit. And yeah, I might have a privileged life. But I was born this way. I didn't do anything to harm anyone else. And so why would I internalize all that crap? Anyway, we got to have some reform in our education system and figure out why we are disenfranchising everybody with this method of teaching. Because it's not good for anybody. Like, it's not good for anybody. And it's so confusing. It's so fucking confusing, I think. So anyway, leave your comments and criticisms and concerns. And of course, let me know if you hate me. I just talk off the tip of my head. And maybe it's awesome and maybe it's fucking horrible. And please school me because I became addicted to meth and didn't go to college. So if you've got something to say to me about your college education, leave it down below in the comments and I will look at it and I will look into it. But anyway, this is just me mouthing off. So, bye.